net interest on the debt, Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security, 19.5% for defense. There's not enough that you can cut defense to make a difference for the debt of the United States of America. And there's not enough that you can tax people to take care of the debt of the United States of America. It has to start with the spending that is coming out of Washington, D.C. that has gotten totally out of control. And this is about 35 to 40 years of fiscal irresponsibility. So that's the type of things we have to start doing.
Thank you, sir. Very good with the specifics. On this next question, we have with specifics underlined again. And the question is the new health care bill a threat to our personal freedoms?
Well, it's very simple. Let's see if I got this little thing right here. Can you hold it? I'm going to read to you the Commerce Clause. How many people know what I'm talking about?
I don't have health insurance. Explain to me how I'm supposed to pay a benefit.
Okay, let me answer this question first and then I'll come to you. Article 1, Section 8, Commerce Clause says, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. The question is the individual mandate in concert with the Commerce Clause? And when you go back and you study the Constitution, cross-reference the word commerce, you come to understand that when they wrote the word commerce, it meant trade. The question is this, that I will ask each and every one of you. Can the federal government establish a certain market, a certain commerce with an individual to then regulate them and then fine them if they do not participate in that bit of commerce? Is that inconsistent with this Commerce Clause? That's the question that's before the Supreme Court. It has nothing to do about anything else. The fear is this: if it becomes telling the American citizen that they must purchase health care insurance, then can they tell you what type of car to buy? Can they tell you what type of food? Can they tell you whatever? You know, because legal matters are based upon establishment of precedent. Now, you want to talk about how do we make sure that health insurance is affordable? It's very simple. Look at the root causes. Number one thing is tort reform. Doctors are forcing people to have more and more tests because of catastrophic litigation. Every state that has instituted some type of tort reform, you're seeing health insurance costs go down. You want to talk about insurance companies and making it more affordable? Then break down the state by state many monopolies that we have created for the insurance industry, whereby you are not allowed to go out there and get good quality competition in order to lower the cost. You want to talk about another thing that we can do to drive down the cost for health care. It's called health savings accounts. Many companies are offering this where individual Americans can take a certain part of their paycheck and set it off aside for their routine medical procedures and practices, but you can combine that with a different type of a higher deductible for catastrophic insurance. Now, I will agree with the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. If you want to keep your child on your insurance up to 26, that's your option. We have to do something to make sure that we keep the donut hole closed to help our seniors. We have to make sure that we cover people for pre-existing conditions. No one should be rejected. But the things that I just outlined to you, those three things, could probably fit in about 10 to 15 pages if we sat down and really wrote legislation. It's the other 2,680 pages of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act that is going to be detrimental to the United States. And we have already seen, since Inauguration Day of January 2009 to today, an increase in health insurance premiums. That is happening already, something that was not supposed to happen. So that is not living up to its intended purposes. Remember we just talked about our debt and our deficit? Do you want 159 more government agencies and bureaucracies? 16,000 more IRS agents? 11 new taxes, to include new taxes on capital gains and dividends tax. I guarantee you, there are seniors sitting here today. Some of you live off your dividends. And those taxes are going to go up. 3.8% real estate transaction tax in the healthcare law. Now, if y'all haven't noticed, I'm black, I'm African American. There's even a tanning tax in the healthcare law. I I tell you, you want to talk about something that's racist, I'm not going to go to the tanning booth. But those are the type of things that are in the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act that I think are detrimental to the healthcare system in the United States of America. And most of these programs and policies kick in from January 2013 out to 2017. There are free market oriented things that we can do to lower the cost of healthcare in the United States of America. Expanding the government bureaucracy is not part of that solution.
Just as a reminder to the audience, one of the things that we wanted to really showcase is our hospitality today to you. So we know you come from big city, but here in our smaller big city, we're a small town kind of, hospitality, so we want to welcome you. So that being said, as we ask our questions, remember there's a process that has been put in place, and I'm happy to make sure we adhere to it, okay? Can we read this? No,
hey, look, folks, let's be very honest. I've been shot at, almost blown up, and all. People yelling at me. That's not going to hurt my feelings. I had drill sergeants that did a whole lot better than any of you could ever do than yelling at me.
Okay. Why is the current administration, along with the Federal Reserve, so hell-bent on debasing our currency?
Yeah, I wish I could understand. I wish that member Nackett was here. How many people know about this policy or program called quantitative easing? Okay? More of you need to read and understand what quantitative easing is. There's three parts to it. First thing, you monetize your debt. Second thing, you keep interest rates artificially low, and right now they're at 0%, which is not a good thing. That's not a good indicator for our economy. And the third thing is you create inflation by printing more money. Now, if you go back and study back in the 1990s when Japan went into a recession, and they tried 9 different stimulus packages. They tried everything they could from top-down, government-controlled, Keynesian economic type of spending. And it's called the lost decade when you read economics. And that's the exact same path we're on. We're now on quantitative easing 3. One of the major contributory factors is why you see these high gas prices is that we have purposely devalued our dollar against the rising cost of oil per barrel. We're doing everything, that's counterproductive to having sound monetary policy. There's even a threat that the dollar may not be the reserve currency of the world because it is becoming so devalued. If interest rates continue to remain at this 0% level, that's an indicator that we're passing off, almost cheap money from banks to banks to banks. I'll be very honest. Part of free market is that there's risk out there. If you are conducting bad business practices, if you have predatory lending practices, all of those type of things, guess what? It's not about government coming in and writing you a check so you can stay in business. That's the cycle. It's the invisible hand of economics, as Adam Smith talked about, that keeps the free market corrected. But if we continue these policies that you see coming out of the Fed, if we don't go in and audit the Fed and look at where all these probably trillions of dollars have been, shot and sent wherever, some of it going to banks overseas, and I don't think that's what we should be doing, then we're going to find ourselves truthfully having what I call an artificial economy. And that's what quantitative easing can lead to. I really believe there are 3 things we've got to pay attention to. Pay attention to the price of gas. Pay attention to the price out there in the grocery stores. And pay attention to whether or not people are going to be successful in staying in their homes. I think those are 3 really key economic indicators as far as what we're doing in this country. If we keep interest rates at 0%, we're not out of the woods yet. So we got to be very, really intimate in looking at what the Federal Reserve is doing.
Thank you, sir. The next question is around veterans benefits and Medicare. Many of us here have VA benefits and Medicare. The Ryan plan slashes both and substitutes vouchers for Medicare.
Well, first of all, that's not true.
Just reading the cards, sir. How can you ask for our vote while you vote for the Ryan plan?
Okay, let me tell you something very honest. The trustees and actuaries of Medicare and Social Security testified before the House Energy and Commerce Committee last year. In 8 to 9 years, Medicare is bankrupt. 5 to 6 years after that, Social Security anyone on Social Security. Right now, we're seeing 25 to 30% degradation.